Hi. It me, Jess. And I think the Feywild would make an excellent vacation destination. I was
Hello.
hoping you were gonna do that one.
And hi, I am Matt. And if you rearrange the letters in Molly Mock, you get I am Lord Voldemort. You don't.
I almost believed you, but not really. So it is episode 95 of a Critical Reroll. Ugh, apparently Dustin, you're muted.
Oh, no.
What?
Are you muted on XSplit? Outgoing audio?
It's okay.
I'm not muted now.
So wait, was there music and everything before?
Yeah, it's just my mic that's muted apparently. Well, that's annoying because
Take your intro again.
my name's Dusty, and I don't think you're playing D&D unless you jump blindly into a void while tied to the rest of your party members, and they all roll crappy and fail the save, and you get sucked in.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It happens.
That's how you know you're really D&D living.
And it's these two over here.
I rolled well.
Okay.
Shh. I have -2 strength. You should never trust me to do a strength-based roll.
Six
How dare!
more of you.
It's your own fault.
There was 6 of you.
There were 6 of us. Anyway.
Okay, so it's episode 95 of Critical Reroll. We are covering episode 19, campaign 2 of Critical Role. Basically, where the party wrapped up things in Zadash and headed out on the road. Today I most want to talk about Hupperdook and what are we gonna get to see there. I want to talk about Jester just casually dropping the Traveler telling her about the Feywild, and Yasha finally revealing her ghostly wings to us.
Yeah, and I think I really want to talk about the fact that they are now in a contract with the gentleman and have a time limit on things, and we know how these group plays. I also think if you're not obsessed with, if it's wrong to be obsessed with Hupperdook, I don't want to be Pyrite. Also, I think today I'd also love to talk about the fact that we jump right into this episode with a fight between PCs, and yeah.
I want to talk about some little mechanical things of setting up a home base for your campaign. I also want to talk about Yasha and what kind of the possibilities of her changing her actual Aasimar subrace. And Hupperdook. That sounds like something I also want to talk about.
So just in case you guys haven't noticed, rather than going the regular route of, going through the episode piece by piece, we wanted to bring up the things that most excited us about the episode. Same goes for you guys in chat. Throw out what you guys think, what you guys want, because we want to sort of get to jump around and theorize and do all that fun sort of talking as we do. So yeah, since we all mentioned it, let's start with Hupperdook, because what is gonna happen there? I'm excited that they are excited, guys. What are you guys expecting?
I mean, with a name like Hupperdook, there are so many possibilities. It's just a fun name. And I've been, ever since they mentioned it, the minute they got their map, and Lorna was like, Hupperdook, we have to go to Hupperdook. And I'm like, okay, Hupperdook. With that, what name is that? I mean, I know that the Dwendalian Empire sort of has these sort of European Germanic-y Czechy, East. I don't forget the Austro-Hungarian kind of words to them. I'm messing up on the actual like root words, but you know what I mean. But like, one, it's fun to say. Two, like, I want it to be like this crazy little like gnome town or halfling town with just like all these little crazy things. I don't like. It just sounds so much fun. Like, and it's right there. Like, I think if I remember the map correctly, it's like nestled into kind of like a little peak or a little peak of mountains that come down. So
Yes. I think
but
that's
yeah,
right.
so like maybe it is like King Sandu said, like it's a high class retreat town, kind of like Denver. Like, is Denver a high class retreat town? I was born there, but yeah.
I much more like all their theories about how it's like this silly little tourist town, the kind of town that would have like, oh look, it's the biggest pitchfork next to the biggest bale of hay ever, like the ridiculous sort of town. You know what I mean? Where people like stop in just for like the silly shtick thing. Yeah, what?
What if it's like one of those like it's like so in Washington we have a town called Leavenworth, which is just amazing, but it's basically looks like a Germanic village, and that's where they have Oktoberfest there. And it's nestled in the mountains. It's really, really pretty, but it's like just this recreation of like a little Germanic town. What if it's like a like that? Like it's like
It's a pretend town.
well, it's like a tour like yeah, it's like a tourist trap, but it's like whatever culture like the Dwendalian Empire has. It's like this little resort town that's looks like that. Maybe there's like skiing. It's like a Swiss chalet sort. Well, that's a restaurant for you guys, but you know what I mean.
I don't know. I want to know kind of the racial makeup of the town, because like the default D&D town is like mostly humans with some other things sprinkled in there. But with its location, you were saying like it could be mainly dwarves, and I know we all want more dwarf everything in our lives.
Always want more dwarves, please.
So I don't know. I feel like the town could be another. What was the one from campaign 1 where they kind of destroyed it because there's illithid under it? Craghammer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it could be like another like this is where we congregate and talk with people above land, but we're not this mountain, so we're gonna go into the mountain, and that's where the big village is.
Oh yeah.
I just think it'd be fun. I also like the whole thing, like it could be just a Las Vegas type casino town.
Oh nice. Okay. Part
like
of me
what happens
wants
in
it.
Hupperdook.
I hadn't thought of that, like a Las Vegas style town, like a Sin City type. Well, but they said that was the other one they talked about, the like cherry tree or choke cherry or something like that.
Cherry Creek Run, not Cherry Creek Run, Cherry something Run, right?
Yeah. But I like the idea. Okay, I want it to be something exciting, like one of the things we've talked about, like a town full of like dumb little attractions, or like a town like Las Vegas. But part of me also wants them to go there and just the most boring town ever. Like everything is just like shades of brown, and it's just like everyone there is the dullest like just so boring.
One road in, one road out, and there's like
one, not even like one flashing yellow light for like at the intersection.
Just the now leaving Hupperdook signs.
Yeah.
Axel Lobo says, "Watch Hupperdook be a front town for the Myriad."
Oh man. Ooh, what if it's like a Stepford Wives sort of thing too? Like it's like they're all like not who they appear to be, and they're being controlled by something. That's just a story that I have for my own, but that would be cool too.
But yeah, no, and I love that they all want to go there based on just that name. So like, if Matt had already decided what it is, I would love for him to like change it just to fuck with everyone. Like they really want to go here. I need to make this worthwhile. Like they're gonna go here.
I mean, I feel like you pick the name Hupperdook, you have something already in mind for it. And we all know how Matt over prepares for things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like the idea that Matt prepared something but based on their reactions, he has changed it to be something else.
Yeah.
But I also like King Sundu in chat said it's actually going to be like the super conservative town, and they're not going to get the joke that their name is funny. Like they're not going to be in on this joke that everyone loves how silly the sound of their name is.
They probably pronounce it weird, like Hopperdook.
Oh yeah, yes. It's like it's actually pronounced Huff and Fluffle. Like it's actually like. Actually pronounced
Or like there's the law, like you cannot make fun of the name Hupperdook. Like anyone caught that spends like the night in jail. Yeah, that would be fun if it's just.
Or it could be the town from Hot Fuzz, where like it's all being run by the mayor or whatever, and they want to win the best village award, and so it's just
yeah. The council has
fun, and like they're gonna get there and start rustling up trouble, and then have an entire town attack.
But we know
there's
from
another.
the... Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm done.
Oh, I was just thinking, like, we know that they are going, because they did make a sort of plan for like their direction that they're going, and they're definitely I forget who said it, but like we're going to Hupperdook. I'm like, yes.
And everyone on Twitter posts that same GIF.
Yeah, Hupperdook.
How
Yeah.
dare you say that in my company?
Hupperdook.
GIF.
Yeah. I'm excited to pay a GIF Yankee.
Well, this experiment was fun while it lasted. 95 episodes is a good. Matt
It's
burned
a
it down.
We're never gonna make it to 100, guys. It's not happening.
Matt burned it down. Anyway.
What was your next one, Dustin?
Well, I was thinking like that sort of kind of leads into like they have a set plan, so that sort of segues right into their deal with the gentleman. We know that they went. This whole episode started with them going to the gentleman from the end of the last episode, where they'd left the Starosta. Was it the Starosta that they were talking to?
Lawmaster.
Lawmaster. Oh, so it was Arentha who was giving them the details on if they chose that path. And so they got saying that the gentleman, and they went with the intention of just hearing out what the gentleman had to offer. But he told them that he has a couple things. He made it very clear that he was not happy with his previous people he had chosen to do some work for him, who just turn tail and run at the slightest little bit of danger.
The overall salt, though, in this one, just particularly while they were there with the gentleman, was so funny. Like, not refusing to give up on making fun of the gentleman. Ford, who isn't usually super salty, was just fucking with everyone for, like, no apparent reason. He was fucking with that ogre, and he was fucking with Lewis. He's like, hey, Lewis, fuck you. Like, just what?
He's genuinely being nice, though, with the Yogi. I thought he was being nice.
I thought he was
being
being nice.
Like, how often does an ogre get called by name?
Maybe.
Not much.
It's when he was talking to Lewis and was like, hey, Lewis, fuck you.
Sorry.
That part was good.
So we get the gentleman offers them the chance. He's got 2 jobs. He's got a contact in Shady Creek. Oh yes, Matt, did you have a question?
I just have one thing. So before he gets into like telling them what their missions could be, there is a little like, I don't know if Matt meant it or if it's like a confirmed thing, but he's like, I wanted to catch you guys before you like got involuntarily conscripted into the army. So like that apparently is a thing that could happen if they stay in town.
That's true. That's true. He was worried that they would get to him before they ended up being. Yeah, I'm still worried that like, well, with an empire like the Dwendalian Empire and the way Matt has put it, they do tend to just like, hey, you're in the army now.
Yeah, congrats.
Congratulations.
Sorry, that was me.
Yeah, so they go in, they get information that he has a contact in Shady Creek Run, which is, as we know, it's the town of outlaws, like their own little, they run autonomously. He has, I think it was Ophelia Mandrin or something like that. Apparently she's in a little bit of trouble, and he needs her. And so he tasked them to go to there to fix her problems so that then he has her as a contact. And I think he said, you have a month to do this, and I want you to bring her back.
There was so much time. I was really interested in why there was so much time.
Yeah, and I wonder if that just accounts for like travel, and in the D&D world, traveling is not the safest, especially if they decide to go off track. And I mean, we know that Shady Creek Run is filled with a bunch of like crooks and criminals and like bad things from Dora.
The Explorer?
That's what I was thinking too.
Si se puede. What's his face from the Stubborn Stock?
Stubborn stock. Oh, Darrow.
Darrow. I just swapped
Okay.
the letters. It's fine.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do that. Darrow.
Darrow.
He said, like, well, what kind of fun do you want to have? Do you want to have bad fun? Do you want to have good fun? And he's like, if you want to have bad fun, go hang out with these guys.
Yeah.
And then he set out the price. I think it was like 4,000 gold or something like that.
I
should have written it down.
Advance purse of 4,500.
Yeah. So thank you, Jess.
No problem.
This is why we work as a team.
Yep.
And so, like, the minute he said that, like, oh crap, they're gonna, like, that's not enough money. And then I was like, oh, but they're gonna try and, like, haggle with a criminal underlord. Like, that never works out right. But he also offered them a second job, where they could go to Barrel Bend, where apparently they have a safe house in the swamp that has gone dark. And apparently Barrel Bend is sort of like a swamp town. They were told to go talk to a Fabron Keys, who was their contact there, to figure out what happened to the safe house, because apparently the long river underneath is their main route for smuggling things in and out, and Barrel Bend is like the hub of their smuggling ring. So that's also very important to him, to have that cleared up so that they can keep running stuff back and forth. And I think the purse on that one was smaller gold-wise.
Yeah. That one seemed more just like a go and clear this out.
Yeah, just figure it out. But, like, I mean, swamps...
And there's wolves, apparently.
Oh, yes. There's some sort of howling in the swamp, and...
Some people haven't returned from when they go into investigate.
But, you know, in D&D, like, swamp can have...
Vicious.
And swamps have so much fun monsters.
Swamps are exciting.
Swamp head.
So, yeah, so, like, here they are... And they eventually, I mean, spoiler alert, they decide to take both of those rather than the contract with the government for less money, but they have a little bit of free time. They have a little bit of wiggle room. They decide to do both. They're doing like sort of
and
like
they
a
get
loop.
a bonus for doing both.
Yeah, and if they come back, my whole thing is, okay, it's fun to speculate what could have happened with them working under the government contract as to opposed. They have a set time limit. And we know what can happen in D&D. Plot points get picked up. The DM drops a bunch of things. Players do that. And it's notorious. You're going to forget.
Your side quest bar fills up.
Exactly. Side quest bar.
They had so many quests thrown at them. They're going to have trouble going through all their side quests. You know when you have too many and you're like, I can't even remember which one.
And like you have to abandon them, but you're like, no, I've already completed 2 of the 5 things.
Yeah, like, I can't abandon it now. Like... It's also like me at a restaurant where I'm just like, how am I supposed to choose?
Everything looks good. I want it all.
This is why I can't play RPG sometimes, because it's like every quest. I'm just going to say yes to everything.
Give me them.
Say yes to the quest. That almost works. That almost works.
TM.
Matt, we'll talk later after the show. But yeah, so, I mean, they had a little bit more probably... sponsorship, because they did also ask the gentleman for like, hey, can you sponsor us with supplies, which was a thing like, no, that's not what we do here. Like,
yeah,
I'm trying to run a business here.
Yeah,
you're breaking my balls, guys.
It kind of gets to that point, like, at what point should we just, stop the conversation and do the thing? Because they're like, can we have this? And
yeah.
can we have
How much do you want to poke a criminal underlord?
Like a criminal mastermind.
Yeah, you probably have a better chance. Exactly. You probably have a better chance messing with, like, Arentha, because, I mean, she, like, if you look at the two mindsets between the gentleman and the lawmaster is, look, we're going to war. I'm losing, like, half of my resources. I'm trying to keep my city safe. You guys are here. You guys seem like you're capable. Like, I will do anything to, like, help you out. Like, help me and help you. Yeah, help me, help you, and you get some things out of it. And the money was definitely better. And then go ahead.
More of an investment. No, like, just like they're committing to being part of the empire. And I think it was Bo that pointed out, they're like, we're kind of accidentally already in a contract with this guy because he has our blood. And apparently he can, like, just track them. So they're already kind of stuck in that one. So why get stuck in 2 situations when you're already stuck in 1?
Yeah, and definitely which out of the best is to be stuck in? I don't know. Like, depending on the character I would play, I'd probably depending on the characters I play, I probably would have leaned more towards the law, whether it would get us embroiled in the war or not. Whereas with the crime lord, you deal with the repercussions if you piss them off.
And did you guys find it at all odd that they're rolling insight checks more in the party than with NPCs? Because I don't think they ever once during their whole chat with the gentleman like saw if he was telling the truth about anything.
I think they incited him like the first time they met him, and not since then. If that makes sense.
It's fun.
No, it is fun. I think it's like, I don't know. I think it's just more fun for them to mess with each other. Like, I think.
And well, it kind of like sets up the tone for maybe the rest of the campaign, that this is going to be like a darker side of the gray area campaign. Like, they're opting to work for these what we believe are criminal underbelly rather than a corrupt police force, but still a police force that at least the lawmaster wants to do it. And it's interesting. It's just a lot different than campaign 1, and I love it.
Yeah,
I love it too. I love just how different everything is.
I love how just crazy everything is as compared to like campaign 1, because we came into it a little bit later, but everything was sort of like neatly stacked in some things, and this one is just off the rails sometimes when it comes to these guys' decisions.
And it's fun seeing this, like, as someone I want to be a better DM. It's fun seeing how Matt is dealing with, like, you can tell he has option A, option B, and they're looking at C through Z. And it's like having to like adjust on the fly. But real quick, what do you guys think is waiting for them? Because they're going to the swamp first, right? Or are they heading north first?
Swamp.
Yes.
Aren't they headed to Hupperdook first? Maybe I'm just.
I thought they were like swinging the swamp and then going up to Lady. We're professionals.
Dear Critical Role, can we have a different version of the map so we can see it better and like mark it? Because I really want. The only one we have is like the sort of up and down photo of it with like the stuff all around it, and I'm like, I just want a really good shot of it so that I can like make notes on it.
Yeah, like I want that too. I just want something that I can.
I want to track where they're going. Swamp first.
Sorry, I'm
cool.
Swamp first.
So in the chat, somebody had already mentioned a shambling mound would be fun.
Yeah, you mentioned a hag.
Yep. So what do you guys think? What would involve wolves? You think werewolves? Because if you're watching and you're like watch people's reactions, Travis, as soon as like there's been howls, and Travis smiled, and then you're like, snap out of it, you're not grog anymore.
No. Werber.
Werbers. Ooh,
that would be.
Were rats.
We're everything.
Yeah, just were things.
The were sanctuary. It's a sanctuary.
Sanctuary.
I got there.
You did it.
You're welcome. Canceled twice.
In one night. It's a record.
But what I think is fun about this campaign is them setting up a new home base that they're constantly trying to get away from. So in the first campaign, they have them on, and it was already established that they like live there. They have a keep there. That's where they want to be. This one, they've spent most of their time in Zadash just because it's early in the campaign. It's where they have the most things to do. But they're already contracted now under the gentleman. They have friends that are high up in like society. They got not Horace, the other one, Dolan, who's trying to become like a dignitary there.
Mm-hmm.
They have an inn that they basically get to stay out forever because I don't know when they're paying rent next or whatever.
Hey, calm down.
I don't know. It's interesting that like they have their home base and they're constantly like, we need to get out of town, and it might be just because of the current circumstances. Mm-hmm. But like I know in D&D, like you want to give your players a home base so they know where they can stay. They have a place to come back after adventures. You give them like lovable NPCs like Pumat Soul, so they keep wanting to come back.
Yeah, that's true. Like they love visiting Pumat Soul, but at the same time, I can't see them settling into Zadash because it's too big of an empire town, and it seems like too many of them really dislike the empire. So I can't help but feel like if they do settle down, maybe it'll be like a slightly smaller town just outside of Zadash or something like that. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Maybe they'll settle on Hupperdook.
Hupperdook! sort of centralized. It might be a nice place to stay. I mean,
and it has all those cute, fun things we talked about it having.
well, and I feel like with Taldore, it was more. I mean, it's not a unified government. Like there's like bits and spaces. Like, and they found a place they liked and kind of worked with, Uriel and stuff like that. But here, it's like a centralized government. A lot of them have some feelings about that government. Like, I don't see them, like, picking a place like Zadash and, like, any of, like, the big cities to, like, run out of, for now, anyway. Yeah, it's like, where would they even set up a home? Or are they more just the roaming band of chaos?
Yeah, like, none of them are really anywhere near home, I don't think. Because you got like 2 from the Menagerie Coast, not from who knows.
None of them seem to have any interest in going home right now. They're all very much like.
Because Bo has spent a lot of time, and Caleb in Zadash. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb probably the other one, where the school is. But of course, he was
Rex Intrum?
He was in a cell for a long time.
Yeah, a really long time.
I don't know. It's funny that they've kind of set up this town to, in my eyes, be the home base because they know everybody here essentially at this point.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But yeah, no, I get what you guys are saying. Like they don't want to be here because it's so politically charged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's fun.
Yeah. No, I get you.
Interesting. I've tried to do that in my own campaigns, and it hasn't worked because sometimes they do things that get them kicked out of town.
Oh. See, I don't know if they're at the point to me of like wanting to settle down yet. I feel like it's good. I think they'll definitely, like you said, like I think Pumont is, for example, a good example of someone they're going to want to come back to all the time.
Do we think they're going to make their way over to Jorhat, however you say it? I'm going to say it differently.
I hope they do. I really hope they make their way over to Jorhat. I just don't
and
think
like maybe find out that is actually the good place to be.
Yeah.
And they like start fighting on that side and make their home base somewhere over there. I don't know.
I'd be interested in that. I'd be interested to see that. Speaking of traveling.
Oh, segue.
Segue. I was very much. I know it was just short, but I was very much interested when Caleb brought up. He's like, oh, he's from the Feywild. Have you heard of sprites and blumpkins? Wait, no, not that one.
Yeah,
I can't believe he said that.
I can't believe he said that. I can, but it's probably one of the things they say right before they go live to make Matt laugh.
It probably is, actually. That's probably one of the ones that they like. He probably accidentally did that to himself.
Yes. Well, yeah. Hey, thank you, Rowan. Like Matt was dropping hints that they needed to get warm clothes, and they didn't. Sorry.
When did he drop that hint?
He told him constantly, "It's colder as you go north." Like,
oh
yeah, I remember him saying that.
No, you guys are absolutely right. And I mean that. Yeah, no, I really want them to head towards Jorhast, and you're right. They need to get on about. Well, because they keep making comments. Because even while they're hanging around the campfire, I think like Bo was like, "Can we cuddle for warmth?" And Yasha was like, "No, I'm pretty warm. I'm good." and even Bo was like, "Yeah, I'm okay too. My
high thread count
look thin, but it's a high thread count. I'm pretty warm. I'm pretty warm." But I don't think like Matt is gonna put up with that shit if they actually get to a cold place. I'm gonna be like, "No, it's not that warm." Bo, your clothes are not that warm.
1 point of exhaustion for everyone. But back to what you were saying about sprites and stuff. From where are they from?
Oh, I love that. Caleb was checking in with that, and didn't your mom tell you stories about that? And Jester being like, no, but the Traveler did. The Traveler told me all about the Feywild and other places, because I mean he's the Traveler, so sure he would know all these other places, but mostly the Feywild, guys. Mostly the Feywild, because I'm still on that train.
Yeah,
I'm not getting off.
He's arted again. I've tried. It worked.
That's 3? Is that 3?
Yep, I'm out. Goodbye.
Strike 3, you're out. Bye.
We should get like an overlay for like Family Feud. Where you get like the 1x, 2x.
Yes.
And we just bring in a new host.
Yeah.
Bye. Who from the chat can sub in for Matt now, please?
Rowan does bring up a point. Like they found an orc in a shack that sold pelts and crap, like for like the cold weather stuff. So
That's true, and they bought was
He literally threw them a bone in the form of a full house and an orc.
yeah.
Well, you know how PCs take bones. Some do, some don't. Some pick up one that wasn't even a bone.
Yeah.
You take this one, Dustin. Didn't you want to talk about the house and the orc?
That was the one. Remember, we started and I was like, "Oh, I forgot what I wanted to talk about."
House and the orc.
I mean, we got a house and an orc. This could be like, my whole thing is like always when we watch a campaign, and you like see something and like I don't know if like everyone sees it, but you know like okay, well, I mean this is here. He made them make a perception check for like smoke. They find this shack.
Not backstory.
And it's like, oh, it's a boat. Like, take the boat. And they're like, oh yeah, we go in there. And like, he helps out. It's an orc. Haven't seen orcs? Have we seen other orcs? I don't know. I don't remember if we've seen other orcs. But it's also like, oh, it's an orc. Like, we know we have a half orc in the party. And just like me, as a player, I would have been like, hey, so we just showed up on your doorstep, but tell me all about yourself. Like, what do you got? You're a thing. But like the way I play a game is like if a DM like gives me something, I sometimes, and to my detriment sometimes, I like go for it because like I don't know whether it's like, okay, stop dropping frames. If it's good or bad, but sometimes I'm just like, ooh, I want more information, especially if I'm really invested in the world. I'm like, oh, who's this guy? I'm just gonna talk to everyone. But I tend to make PCs that are like that are very people, you know, personable, like wants information or like likes information. Whereas you think about the 9 and you're like, okay, well no, not all of them really care about like other people a lot. They don't really like talking to other people, so it makes more sense. But I'm like, was this just like, hey, look, this guy might have supplies, might have some stuff, or did he have something else completely? Like, yeah. It's always those things that they leave behind where you're like, well, what could have happened there?
And it's interesting to me that he chose them to be an orc because that's such a traditionally like evil character.
Yeah.
But this is clearly one that has left his orcish ways behind, and he's made a home and he's made a business for himself.
Well, and we know that from like the Taldori campaign guide and stuff that talks about orcs, right? Like they're like the blood. I think there's a section in the orcs where that talks about like they're the bloodthirsty Grumsh. I don't never how to pronounce their god, but
Quinoa.
Quinoa, yes, the god of orcs, King Noir, and his vicious retribution to taste good with honey.
The delicious orc god. And super healthy for you too.
Yes, and just cook it till you get the little tail pops out. It's perfect. This podcast sponsored by quinoa.
Just the concept of it. No specific brand.
We had some interesting talk in chat about the orc. FMA said, I wish that Ford and the orc had NPC had met each other. But
I wish
Tool pointed out that like it might not have gone well. King Sundew said, yeah, because the teeth might have been brought up.
Oh.
That could have gone multiple ways. And it's like, I was waiting for them to like, because nobody ever said it was an orc to Ford. He was just standing out there,
He was just standing outside.
He tried to like move himself to like have a better view, but he never got to see that it was an orc. And then everyone did like, he's like, you know, there's just one person. And they're like, yeah, it's just a guy. He got armor and meat. Didn't say that it was an orc. I'm like, God, that could have been interesting.
Yeah, it could have been some it could have been some interesting connection, and it could have been good, or it could have been really bad.
And I like that it was Taliesin. That's like, there's probably a trap door underneath with people needing help. And I just rolled 3 more on that perception check. I would have seen like, the carpet's been moved recently.
Yeah, you can see that there's dust here, but not here. Like, that's sort of like silly little reference thing.
So, once again, Rowan always has good points. He brings out that he thinks that they're more distracted with about how sick the other party members are, that they're not really latching on to particular NPCs yet. And he posits that, you know, once everyone's backstory is out and old news, we might see them insight checking others more and pestering random civilians for their histories.
Yeah, but they have enough backstory.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough going on with it because, like, yeah, right. I mean, it's true.
You're absolutely right.
they're newer. They're still like barely trusting of each other still to some degree. And I don't know whether it's I like that as we go through this campaign, you know, Caleb is opening up more so people are starting to trust him, but the Laura Liam, like she's just less trusting of Liam because Liam keeps like doing secret shit. And like the joke was like everyone but Laura, like just Laura leaves. Like it's like, oh man. Like the Laura Liam trust is like breaking. Like we had that.
They were twins.
Yeah, they were twins last campaign. Now there's so much like, it's like
they're twinemies.
Family, please stop.
Yes, thank you. So like what like the party knows, they know basically everything that we all know about Not. They know all about Molly Mock, that he basically died and has no memory of who he was. They know Yasha like came from Zorhas. They know Bo. Do they know? I think it's just Caleb right now that knows that she's part of the Cobalt Soul.
Yeah, he's the only one she's revealed herself to completely like that.
That to Yasha, because she was with Yasha and like was talking to Trent and Moss. I forget his name. But Ford, everybody knows about Ford is that he has wet dreams and that he sawed off his teeth.
Yeah.
They don't know like who his patron is.
And he's got this sword that keeps leaking
and changing. Nobody else is like pointed out that his sword is completely different. Well, not completely, but like
it's
back to
serrated now. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you guys are absolutely right.
It's fun.
Well,
it is
and then
super.
Yeah. So there you go.
But what were you guys expecting from the orc? Did y'all think it'd be combat? Because he had a axe.
The second that Matt described him as sort of like opening the door with one hand and clearly having a hand hidden, I was like, he's holding a fucking weapon. But it was to me, it was so clearly self-defense because this is like, you know, a persecuted kind of race living by himself.
Yeah, like on a road. So yeah, that's how I kind of took it too. Just more of a, who the hell's coming knocking at my door? People don't come knocking at my door unless they want to rob me.
And it was interesting that like they did trade knowledge real quick, like, you know, what news have you? And they're like, well, the army's gonna be heading maybe this way soon. Maybe keep an eye out.
Yeah.
That was just a real cool interaction. I hope it wasn't anything bad. I kind of want to meet him again. I wish they asked his name. That would have been fun.
Yeah, that's true. We didn't even get a name. Names. That's a good point. I didn't even.
I will continue to don my tinfoil hat and flesh him out as a fully developed character, like I do with all
who
of
we will never see again.
I do that with everything Matt puts before me.
Even have a name.
Nope. He already has
the
a
one
name.
that they're going to be fighting gods with.
His name is Quinoa.
Let's see. What did I have? So later on, they get in a fight, and Yasha does something super cool.
Yep.
They get waylaid in the middle of the night by a bunch of goblin-looking things, which turn out to be goblins, and some ogres and wolves. And Yasha is woken up, and what she sees is a dead Caleb, or what she thinks is a dead Caleb. And then basically everybody asking her for help, and so she does her. We find out what kind of ASMR she is. She does her necrotic shroud. Did you want to talk about that first? Because I want to talk about like aftermath stuff, Jess.
I mean, I think we had been speculated for a long time that she fallen ASMR. So this confirmed it because she did the typical like sort of dark energy. Her eyes went black, and she got those sort of dark membranous wings almost that are like. And I love that specifically she got asked, like, can you fly? And it says specifically, like, fallen ASMR cannot fly. So she is like, no, I've tried. It doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. Tried, It doesn't work like that. But it's really cool because we're going to get to see... we're going to get to see her trying to... She didn't succeed at scaring anyone, did she?
No.
Yeah, so she's supposed to, anyone within 10 feet she can scare. And so I like that she misunderstood that. And she was like, I feel like she was still hoping to keep it to herself a little bit. I feel like she was trying, like, hoping she didn't fully, like, show her hand. because she was like, oh, I thought it was just people within 10 feet of me could see it, and Matt was like, no, within 10 feet of you can get frightened, but everyone around you can see your wings. So like you have just shown us you're awesome, and Bo of course being like, you look real good there. Like
But yeah, so Fallen Asimar, the little paragraph from the book, is an Asimar who was touched by dark powers as a youth and who turns to evil in early adulthood. And their inner light has been replaced by a shadow. So before, when we were talking about Yasha being an Asimar, and she had the little quip about the Storm Lord, like, literally pulled her through hell, like, it's looking like it could have been a literal, like, pull out of hell, or just, in Jorhas, that's the only kind of Asimar they have, are ones that are touched by darkness.
Mm-hmm.
But what I think is interesting is we don't know her purpose still. We know that like 8 months ago is when she left Jorhas, came over to the Dwendalian side, joined the circus, and is now here. But there's a little kind of footnote thing where you can, fall from grace or rise to it, and become like a protector Asimar or a scourge Asimar. And like you can change all of your stats depending on what it is. But it's like, is that what she's trying to do? Is she like going for a redemption arc with this one? And I made the joke at the beginning, but I like the idea that her hair is like a meter, kind of like a infamous, where like the more good things you do, you
how
get
evil
power.
she is in the
The more
moment.
evil things you do, you get red power, and like that's a level of this is how good you are today. I don't think it's gonna be it, but I think that'd be funny.
Well, King Sundu points out, like, so do you think like Yasha was kidnapped by Drow and corrupted, or is there a more malevolent?
Like her.
Yeah, is there more a malevolent force like came down and like corrupted her? Because I mean, like, Asimar, like usually they have like a celestial like patron, right? Like someone that's
like a guide.
Yeah, a guide that's like guiding them on their way. And so like something happens and she loses that guide and gets touched by shadow. Like, do they still have a guide as an Asimar, even if you're a fallen? It's just a not nice guide.
Yes, like you have some mission to do, and they're the ones that give it to you, good or bad. Is the way I see it. Let's see. Yeah, as a dean, take the role of Asimar's angelic guide and decide what kind of advice or omens to send in dreams. Interesting.
We know that the Stormlord. Oh, sorry, just go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that I don't think, like, from the sounds of it, I don't think the Stormlord would have been her original patron, right? Like, it sounds like she would have picked up the Stormlord, like, he saved her, and like you said, Matt, maybe he's put her on a path of redemption, and that's her new. And that would be interesting also because as Pike, previously, part of her thing was sort of like forgive everyone and give everyone a chance, and now she's one of the people that needs to be forgiven and given a chance, perhaps.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. FMA says, I think Yasha doesn't know she's an Asimar.
Oh,
that's interesting. Well, because when Caleb asked, "Are you an angel?" she said, "Of sorts?" Like, question mark. Like,
and then Matt went on to like confirm that she doesn't know how she's speaking that language. It's just something that she knows.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. I don't know why I hadn't thought of that.
Ooh, that's got some nice rife with points in it.
Like, maybe she just doesn't understand exactly what she is. Maybe she grew up, because she grew up a barbarian, so maybe she grew up with a completely different kind of people, and she was the only Asimar there.
So do you guys think maybe like she died and was somehow brought back? I don't know, like Asimar, what they are. Could she like have just been willed into existence 8 months ago and is making up a backstory kind of as we go? Like, I know she has stuff written down, but she has stuff written down. I don't know. This opens up so many doors.
Yeah, I think the two people that now that we kind of know where Caleb came from, because as a wizard, I was defaulted to be interested in his backstory. But also, like, I'm very interested more in Ford and Yasha's kind of stuff, especially because we know nothing about Jorhas, and Jorhas sounds very interesting. I kind of want to know more about, like, Yasha and why she came over here this way, and what was she running from, and like what's going on there, and definitely everything about Ford, which we know nothing about.
Yeah. Who's never seen a cat before? Said Evan. Well,
it's like what What monstrous country is Rojas that doesn't have cats?
Or pets in general. So I did read a line, an ASMR, except for one who has turned to evil, has a link to an angelic being. So maybe, yeah, she was dark and she's like formed a bond with the Stormlord somehow.
Yeah.
And it's a redemption story, and it's gonna be great. And she's gonna make it all the way to it and become a cool. And she's gonna have wings and can fly. Sorry, go ahead.
Nope, you're good. You're good. I think we touched on most of the things I wanted to talk about. Dustin, did you have one more?
I kind of want, like, this jumps way back into, well, I guess we could kind of segue it from Yasha. But I did kind of want to talk about the beginning of the episode where we get into a fun little, we come into the gentleman's area, and this is a nice, a fun little, where you expect something's going to happen one way, and then it turns out into a completely different, and I think it sort of sheds light on the psyche of the PCs and their interactions with each other. Because we get down there, Matt's describing, oh yeah, there's like a ring of people, and there's like this awesome fist fight going on between these two guys, and you could literally see Marisha's eyes just go boom, and I'm like, oh yeah, the new grog of the campaign wants in on some fighting. And I thought maybe like, I didn't think really Yasha was going to get involved, just because like she seems
Jester.
Like I didn't think Yasha would get. I thought Bo was just gonna go in there, but like,
Yep.
If I feel like a lot of people might thought that, oh, maybe Yasha wants to get in there and fight, just like from a barbarian kind of standpoint, but she's still kind of a shy barbarian that doesn't like to be. But like, you knew Bo wanted in. She wanted to beat someone up. I did not expect
it to be Jester.
I did not expect Jester to also want to go in there. And so then I'm like, oh yeah, PC versus PC. This is going to be fun. Like, what's going to happen? But I also didn't expect Liam as Caleb to cast haste on a monk, because that really unfaired the fight a bit. And then I also, once Jester was in, I was like, oh yeah. But then she comes in with the fist fight with inflict wounds.
That was funny.
And like, oh, Matt's description, just like all of a sudden, just a bunch of your blood vessels just explode, and like, oh boy, it's like Fist of the North Star.
Oh my god,
really old anime. But like that was the whole fun thing. Like, oh yeah, PC versus PC. This, because I think a lot of people, when they were talking about the victory pit, a lot of people thought, and even like the Mighty Nine thought, they would be fighting each other and not like a team fighting like a monster. So we get that nice little
fighting people.
Bo getting to flex out some more monk class stuff, and Jester, I think, just went in it for the chaos fun, because I think she's really, between her and the Traveler, it's just, hey, you know, life is meant to be experienced, and just fuck with it any chance you get.
And I love, like, and that was a spell that she had just picked up, because they're all level 5 now.
And you know that itch when you get a new spell, you just want to use it.
Especially that one as a cleric, because that's like the only spell that makes you feel like you can like dish out damage.
Yeah.
Because it's a level 1 spell that does 3d10 if you hit. Sure, it's touch, but it's like, I can help, guys, I swear.
Well, yeah, and it's a very, like, if the cleric gets in a bad place, it's a really good one, because it is a touch spell. Because you could be just like, wah, you know.
At 5, inflict wounds, JK.
But then also, how many of us actually thought that this was going to go anywhere, because we're dealing with a monk who was then hasted? Like, I didn't expect that to, like, there was already sides. Like, Liam just...
I hadn't noticed. I actually missed. I was distracted, and I missed that Liam cast haste. And just with the initial, like, with Jester going all in on that... Well, she didn't go all in on the afflict wound. She specifically was like, I only did it at level 1. Like, it could have been a lot worse. But, you know, that original, like, Bo just being like, holy shit! Like...
Yeah.
I originally thought Jester was going to do a lot better than she did. Just how it started. And... But like you know, like they said, it's like the new, like, don't bring a knife to a gunfight is like, don't get in a fist fight with a monk.
Yeah, don't bring a caster to a monk fight, like something like. Well, yeah, like the point is, like, she would have had to open up, like, with everything, and it probably would have been smarter to just pop all your high level spells, because the minute it's the monk's turn, you're gonna you're gonna lose if you get a successful stunning strike and they can hit so fast. And Axe Lobo does mention Laura's face when Liam Caleb buffed Bo. It's another one of those like
betrayal.
Please stop fighting, brother and sister, please. I spent 2-3 years like loving your interactions, and now you're just against each other.
I'm gonna make Team Laura shirts. There'll be Critical Role Civil War.
Well, and then I like that Taliesin as Molly did get involved with I'm just gonna blood maledict Bo so she can't see anything.
And Ford in the background trying to incite a betting.
Oh yeah.
I just love it when Travis busts out the voices too. Like, I'm just so happy that we get to see Travis in this very multifaceted, intelligent, playing off of things role instead of don't get me wrong, Grog was a work of art, and Travis really made dumb entertaining. But it's so fun to see. Yeah, and he's like, right over here. It's just
Spin gold on the horny one.
Yeah. This was just such a like ridiculous, over the top prankster like way to start like nonsense like part of the episode, because like I think he said that they went down there to make a deal with the gentleman. What's the first thing they do? They get into a fist fight. They all do stupid shit. They all like, that's, and
Casey's third level, right? That was Caleb's one spell for the day, third level.
Yeah, and I was surprised about that too, that they were just starting their day. They weren't about to get a long rest anytime soon, but they were all like, hey, let me just pop off all my spells. I was a little bit surprised with them doing that. But...
And he did post his spell lists.
Oh, he did?
And he's gone a lot of utility. He has slow. Well, we know he has slow from the fight with the goblins and the because he did pop out the slow area. But he has a lot of utility spells, so he might be going more of a utility kind of wizard, like, which I think is, unless you're evocation, you really can't go all out with stuff because you're gonna get friendly fire a bunch, and like, it's hard for me to play other wizards as much as I love other wizards and not be in the blow everything up mindset, because I did play an evocation wizard, and you didn't have to worry about people, but like. It's more fun when you have to be strategic and like not. And he made sure he cast slow. But yeah, he's definitely got a lot of utility spells.
Yeah, I like that about them. I like that he has a lot of utility stuff, and he's like giving other people a chance to like do a lot of stuff.
I tried doing that with my current wizard, but everything's concentration, so I can't like stack.
That is the other downside to some of that, is concentration is so annoying.
Yeah.
Is that everything for everybody?
Well, that was most of it. Obviously, we need to talk about like not.
I was gonna say like we definitely need to talk about. We
can't not talk not, guys.
This is true. You are not wrong.
I think Caleb's not gonna be picking up fire spells without some serious character development. That's nice.
Yeah, that's true.
A good point.
That's true, wrong.
No fireball.
Because this is usually when people take fireball, because they're like, it's fireball. I gotta take it. It's dungeon.
I gotta take it. It's my best one. He has had like, what's the little fire spell
Scorching
he has?
Ray. Well, he has Firebolt, which is the cantrip.
Well, he has that.
Is that what it is?
And then he has
Firebolt, cantrip, Scorching Ray from the glove.
Yeah, he has the glove.
And then Chromatic Orb, and if he ever does.
But Chromatic Orb, you can do fire, but like he usually chooses
something else. Yeah, he usually goes
acid
something
or
There's a lot of fire-based spells, like you got Burning Hand, Scorching Ray.
Yeah, well, because I'm just thinking when they were in the pit with the hill giant, he tried to use fire a few times and he just like gave up on it and went back to buffing his team. So I mean, he has, but I see what you mean, like him not taking any bigger fire spells. It seems unlikely at this point. After what we've seen.
So not.
So not. We get 2 separate sections of not.
Yeah. I thought that was really cool.
What was the first one?
The first one was Jester specifically asked Not about her past. When they were doing sorry?
And eating children.
Well, because specifically, because Jester started to ask her about her past, and Not was like, well, what have you heard about goblins? And Jester didn't want to say. Jester was like, "Oh, I don't want to be offensive. I feel like it might seem like bad." And Not was like, "No, go ahead. Like, it's probably freaking true. Like, right? Like that's very much her stance." And so I love that Not encouraged everyone else to share their sort of stereotypes of goblins, and she sort of confirmed or denied. Well, she didn't deny anything. She confirmed everything. She was like, I heard that they steal like all the my mom told me if you were bad, the goblins would come and steal you away in the night. And she's like, well, they steal good and bad children. They steal children. Like,
That's absolutely true. Everything bad you
absolutely true.
Yeah, and I think it was just like you could imagine them listing off like, well, what about this? And Not's like, true, and like I think to think of her playing or to Sam playing not a monster character that I really love, and we kind of, I didn't want to touch on it too much, but we know that Not wants Caleb for his power and the things that he can do, and to see a monster character be so more aware of what they are, and to just be like, I hate them. They're just awful. Like, that is not me. Like, and so I don't mean to jump on anybody's. So if you want to take it, just let me know. But like,
go for it.
Her talking about how they tried to pass her around to like different like goblin professions, and like nothing ever stuck. And so like here she is in this group of monsters, growing up with these group of monsters, not feeling like a monster herself, and being like, I don't fit in here. Like, how do I get out of this? Yeah, and so if someone wants to pick up with, she finally gets passed on to, I think the last job she has is torturer.
The torturer.
And so she gets the torturer's apprentice, right?
Yeah.
And
that's a bad Disney movie. That's a bad.
It sounds like a Disney movie.
Nicolas Cage.
That's Dark Timelines. That's Dark Timelines.
Sorry, that doesn't
Disney
exist.
movie.
Just like The Last Airbender doesn't exist.
No, we don't talk about that movie.
But yeah, so after they fight off the goblins in the middle of the night, afterwards Ford is like, "Not, are you okay?" And Not's like, "Yeah, I feel like." Did she say fulfilled? She said something.
I don't remember her exact words. I just remember she was happy.
It was very rewarding, is what she said.
Yeah.
Good point from Rowan. When you get a chance.
Oh, that's such a good point. So yeah, I mean, I really love that in getting to hear more of Not's background, we got to see how strong her connection was to Caleb, and it's very similar to me how the connection was reinforced once again when Caleb shared his backstory, and Not was so there for him, and she was immediately reassuring him. Well, and then the other side of it very much happened again, where like this time Not was sharing her backstory, and Caleb was so there for her. He was so like ready to be like, that's not you. When the other characters were like, oh, do we need to stop you from eating babies? And Caleb's just like, she's smarter than that. That's not her. And she's like, yes, Caleb's right. Like, that's not me. Like, but I love that there was so much group discussion about it, and everyone was so open and frank. But yeah, I was most interested, like you were talking about, in the backstory that came after the battle, when they were talking about how Not had specifically had a halfling friend, how like in her role as torturer's assistant, she had gotten to meet, and she was supposed to be torturing a halfling, and instead she was allowed to converse with him because the rest of the goblins were like, oh, maybe we'll get good information off of this guy. And so we find out that that's why Not speaks halfling, because that's something we saw at the very beginning, that she was pretending to be a halfling, and she was able to follow up on it because she spoke halfling. We saw
how she learned alchemy.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, and she hasn't done it too much, but she tried to make that bomb, and she obviously learned it from this halfling who was supposed to be tortured. And I do like just the little line of like, I was supposed to torture him, but instead I was nice to him. I'm like, oh, that like speaks volumes of Not's character. And so she learned everything about his town, where they keep the food, where they harvest the food, where like they're weakest, I think. And then once she got all of that information, she was supposed to kill him. But instead, she causes a distraction, and they leave together, and then I guess split ways immediately after that. I'm still a little bit confused on if she knows where he is.
Well, no, if
she's
they
trying
asked,
to keep him safe now.
No, they asked like if she had heard like what happened to him, and she doesn't know. Like
she doesn't know.
They went their separate ways, and that's the last they ever saw of each other. So
I think this is another example of one of the players leaving it up to Matt to decide sort of the backstory and if it's going to come up again, like sort of, allowing him the chance to have her have the opportunity to possibly meet this character. And I really would love to see not getting a reunion with this character. Like, I think this is such an important character and Nott's backstory, and I really, really want them to get to meet again. Like, I'd be really sad if we don't get that opportunity. Sorry, what were you giggling about?
The Rowan. But yeah, no, and I was gonna bring it up too. Like, we don't know who she's sending
the package to. Yep.
Originally, I thought, and I want to go back and see because I think Matt said a town name. But Nott takes all her gold, all her trinkets, all her like baubles that she's collected, and sends it somewhere, and doesn't tell us where, like to us the audience, but says, Matt, like, you know where I want this to go. And originally I thought it was to her clan, but now hearing this story, like, she despises her clan, never wants to see them again, is okay with them dying. So who was she sending that to? Mm-hmm. Inversely, I'm also, just because like I'm an evil person, I like Uncle Ooks. Saying that I don't trust Nott, could have crafted that story after hearing Caleb's, which is super valid as well. Nobody insight checked her. I don't know.
And we do know that Felderwind, yeah. So I don't remember where that is, but we also know that there is some sort of interest in Dulan Tversky, which Hazelwood and FMA were talking about. And we know that he's part of the Cerberus Assembly, but like, why? Like, what does that have to do with it? And we do know that there was this length of time before Nott and Caleb met. So like, and did they touch on how long she had been like away from her?
Well, we know that she is,
like, when she ran
quote
away,
unquote, between 6 to 9 years old.
Okay.
So that's the window we have. At least that we've been given. Mm-hmm. She and Caleb, did they say how long they had been together? Maybe like a year? Less than a year?
Just since breaking out of that jail.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So this all like happened real quick to Nott. Mm-hmm. It's just like they all are so quick to accept sad stories. I don't know.
Well, also, like, I mean, Rowan makes a good point too. Like, you don't want to. I mean, as quick as they are to like trust one another, like nobody wants to like interrupt. Like when someone's like dishing out a backstory, you don't want to be like, well, you just told me a bunch of stuff. I'm going to tell you that I don't trust you. Like, it's everyone, because everyone like loves to hear. That's what I love about these guys too. Is they're also just so invested in just D&D the game, where you get to learn the new things. And I think like Liam made a point on Twitter after he had made people leave that he's like, that was wrong. Like, it's much more fun to have everyone there react to stuff that they know they can't react to. Like, that's the best part, is like, you hear things and you're not there. Everyone just gets so involved in a story, and like, it's just like, sure, you're not playing optimally from a D&D standpoint if you're not like, should you be, as my character, would I trust this person? Because sometimes it's just fun to just listen to the thing and like, oh man, and then deal with finding out if that's true or not later on,
Is it true or is it not? With 2 T's.
David Rosgofty in chat pointed out like that way back when they were in front of the judge, and she was like, how about if I send like some bad guys after your clan? And Nott was already very much like, go ahead, I don't care. I
will tell you where they are.
Well, like, because some people, like, I know it's understandable to be like, oh, I don't trust Nott, I don't trust Sam, more specifically, that he isn't, like, messing with us in some way. But Nott has been very consistent when she has had reveals. I think it's been, you know what I mean? Like, as it's come out, and it's been in bits and pieces, and sometimes it seems detached from each other. But it's been very consistent that she has not liked that she does not like other goblins. She does not like her clan. She has no honor towards them or favor towards them. She has voiced from as soon as it sort of became possible to hear it that she wants Caleb for his transformative powers and like just you know what I mean, that has been very consistent from the very beginning. Yeah, I don't know.
David also brings that like no one has trusted Sam since the Scanlan Terry switch, and is that more saying stuff about us for the betrayal that we felt and the damage that is still not healed? And for the like, I know that there was a lot of between whether liking Scanlan and liking Terry, and that was a big thing. Like, can we just not trust anymore? But I like Not. I really, really love Not.
What do you guys think of the theory that Not is a cursed goblin? Like she was cursed into being a goblin. She wasn't supposed to be one. I've seen that sent around a little bit, and I personally don't agree with it. Like
we hear her talking about it, right? And she feels like she grew up in this thing, unless, and this gets even more crazy tin hatty, but it's me, so of course I'll say it. But like, unless she was cursed, memory modified, and planted, and then the whole, like as a child, like I don't like, or like the whole goblins were all memory altered too. Or her story's fake, and she's just, like.
Well, and she seemed to know a lot about goblin culture.
Yeah,
to be
like
not a goblin at the start.
So like that would, the more you go down sort of a road like that, the more you get these threads that you can't really like attach. And if I can't attach a red piece of yarn to it in a stable manner, I know. That's not worthy of my giant corkboard that hides behind this.
Pin in the board.
Yeah, this is just a screen. I don't have a bed in my room. Like it's just corkboards and red yarn behind this.
Yeah.
You can't.
That's one I had seen and I hadn't really agreed with, but I was wondering if anyone had anything to convince me. I was willing to be convinced, but I don't personally
do it.
I would
see much of it.
Source on that, Uncle Ook, if you got one. Didn't Matt say something about not looking like some species that predated goblins? Now, Matt, Sam is describing Not as like the Pathfinder style goblin rather than the D&D like brown and kind of more humanoid, smaller ear goblin.
They're all out tinfoiling me right now because.
Yeah, that one's interesting.
Oh,
maybe not
to read it.
Oh crap!
A reincarnate spell gone bad. Interesting.
Or the what was it?
Or Duan Tversky was the halfling that she saved, so Not potentially has an alternate wizard that could help her with her problem.
There's some good ones on here. Not could be a plant to entrap Caleb by Trent. If she is lying, if it does turn out that like she has not always been a goblin, like if that is part of it, could it be because like we don't know her that long and he was gone for at least 10 years or so. He was gone. There's a good period of time. She's only like max 9 years old in theory. Could have been a plant by Trent. That's an interesting one.
Let's see. I thought it was an early season 2 episode. I'll have to. I mean, obviously it's season 2. I don't know. But I think that covers most everything that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, unless there's
You'll
anything.
One thing
we're gonna talk about the modern literature.
Oh yeah. Okay, so this is. I'll throw this out there, and then we can like kind of close up and answer these. So during the fight, Not yells out modern literature, and Caleb knows what it means, and no one else does, and so she shoots at Caleb and hits the book under his arm, and he pretends to be dead. So what I want quickly, however fast you can think of anything, give us like a phrase or something, like a name of a maneuver, and Jess, Dustin, and I will try to come up with what that could mean. Go. While they're looking at that, one of the things that I also thought was interesting was the Schrodinger's Horus, and how like chaotic, neutral-ish this party truly is. Like they send Horus to be safe in
Yes.
Bedford, Bedwater, Bed something.
Barrel Bend.
That's the one. Barrel Bend. And they're like, well, while we're in this area, we should check up on them. And they're like, no. I don't want to check up on them because if I have that information and he is injured, now I have to deal with that. And they're like, well, we should just not know. Who wants to take this first one?
Jello shots. I feel like that should go to Dustin because it might have something to do with cubes.
Yes, I feel that Jello shots. Well, are we talking about just like in general, just make up a maneuver that anyone could use, or is this the
It's a
Mighty
maneuver.
Nine?
Oh,
maneuver?
Yeah, so like the Mighty Nine was, they kind of mentioned, or they're like, we need, maneuvers, we need formations. So let's give them something to think about.
All right, Jello shots, I think, are not devising acid that is in gelatin form. Yeah, that's like maybe they're like trapped in a thing or whatever, and they need somewhere to get out of it. So like she makes little snacks, and it's like, oh, what's this? And they get some dumb monster to eat it or something like that. I think I like that. Or like, yeah, little Jello shots of gelatin cube acid, because I am going to take it into this because these are my favorite.
We have Kakat's Cradle. Jess.
It's where they pretend Frumpkin is a baby, and then they send him out with his claws to attack from the cradle and send someone to the grave.
Excellent. We've also got from King Sundu Oscar's Thrust.
Oh, gosh.
This one, I think, would be between Jester and Yasha. And also Ford.
Oh, my God.
And they
Drake's in here.
They would recreate kind of what they did at the carnival game, but use it in combat where they throw Ford really far. It's awesome. And so they're like, that's their new version of fastball special. It's awesome.
Oh my God, I love it.
Oh, no, that's good. I like that.
Hot Pockets is a maneuver that
Caleb cast the fire spell in his pockets, and then they put someone's hand in it for torture.
I was gonna say it's where not steals something from someone's pocket, but leaves something hot in there in the meantime. So when the person goes to retrieve it, not only are they like, "Oh no, I don't have the thing," but they're distracted by their now burned hands.
You know what my hot pocket is?
What?
It's not even a maneuver. It's a this breaks the game, but it's a request from Pumat Soul to create jackets with warm pockets.
Pocket warmers, the opposite of a can coolie. I kind of want to take a shot at Jello shots. That would be fun. I like what you were saying about not making some sort of gelatin acid.
Mm-hmm.
She does it and makes it a projectile on her crossbow, and that's a sign for everyone else to get out of the way, because it's gonna explode wherever it hits. So like Jello shots, they're right there.
I like it. I like it.
Good.
The Frumpkin Pumpkin, my shoe, Court's Jester.
That's what Jester. Oh, Court's Jester. That's what Jester does. A romance thing to get information out of someone.
Like a honeypot, but by Jester.
Like a honeypot, but by Jester. Like it's a courting Jester, Court's Jester.
Ah, I like it.
But
my shoe is literally someone just bends over to tie their shoe and like
my shoe is the one
over them.
I thought you were literally
down so you can push the other guy over them.
Yep.
I literally thought you were gonna go with they just take off their shoe and throw it at.
I thought that as well. The Frumpkin Pumpkin could be they all play kind of keep away with Frumpkin, and then whoever has it last spikes it at an enemy, and then Caleb casts some sort of touch spell that's really good because you can cast through your familiar.
Mm.
And, yeah, it's like pumpkin chunking.
Oh, that sounds bad for Frumpkin.
I mean, he might die, but he comes back. Let's do 3 more, 1 each. We've got a couple in the chat, and then we'll end the show. My one is the Dancing Fry. We've got Bowing Out, PB&J, Betwixt and Between. That one could be fun. And Death Metal. Death Metal is going to be what they call when they do the team up of Caleb and Yasha, and they enlarge Yasha, and she like brings down the metal sword.
That's good.
Oh gosh, tarnished
I was
tapestry.
thinking PB&J would be something with Jester, but I just
So it's Bo and Jester, and who could P be?
Well, I'm thinking like more of like using the peanut butter part of it to be like a sticky situation, but I like the Bo and Jester thing. But then, oh man, like
Peanut, Beauregard, and Jester.
maybe because like peanut butter and jelly PB&J is Bo and Jester, and then using spiritual weapon sort of as a combo thing. Maybe I don't know. Like Bo tees him up and Jester like knocks it out of the park, sort of thing with spiritual weapon.
Who's that? Where like she can like catch Bo on her spiritual weapon and like fling her.
Oh yeah, like that too. Yeah.
All right,
like
Jess,
that too.
close us out.
I don't know. Tarnished Tapestry is just an excuse for Molly to streak with his tapestry, barely covering him,
It's a good
and
distraction.
he's tarnishing the good name of the poor.
That is tapestry flying at full mast. You're welcome.
Yep.
Cool. Do we want to reintroduce ourselves?
I'm
can-
Jess, go_JG, and I think that the Feywild is an excellent vacation destination.
I'm Dusty at GeoNerd, and you better believe that I bought yes-to-the-quest.com and say yes-to-the-quest.online for $10 at namecheap.com. Those domains are mine.
Are they really?
Yes.
We have to talk. We have to do a podcast. Okay. And my name is Matt. You can find me on Twitter at Matt_Abernathy. And it's true. I just looked at it. If you rearrange the letters in Mollybach Tea Leaf, you get I am Lord Voldemort. Now you do have to break some of the letters up to because there's no V, but it's there. Promise.
Nope. Bye.
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 Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Bye, guys.
Comment, like, subscribe, smash subscribe button.
Smash that like button.
Tell us what you like, don't like. Bye.
Bye. I'm gonna leave the music on and we can talk over it while I cancel the stream. That was a good job, guys. Like, I love talking.